Okay, so we should be live. Hi everyone, I've got Zsolt, the CEO of YawVR, with me for another catch up to see the status of the Yaw3 now. Um, so I've got a bunch of questions that came from various sources, some people in Discord. Uh, there's a Yaw Facebook group. There's actually two Yaw Facebook groups, but this was the one that I wasn't already a member of. So we've got some questions that I've pulled together and sort of reworded from both of those. So I might just launch in Zsolt and get through the questions and then give you some opportunity to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about after that, and if there's any questions from people that are in the chat as well. So we can tell from your Discord, maybe not everyone's there, but we know that several people have got Yaw3s now and that several are happily enjoying them. Are you able to tell us how many have shipped now?
Yeah, so the last couple of weeks we produced around 50 devices, which is not a big number, but it is some reason. By the way, hi everyone.
Sorry.
I'm very happy to be here again. Sorry, I just jumped into the answer. So we produced around 50 devices, but the performance of the production is higher and higher from week to week, and we delivered around 17 to Kickstarter backers and the rest to customers and replacements. So that was the average proportion of the deliveries.
So those 17 to backers, were they primarily backers that had paid extra, or?
I think there was both of them. There was some replacements to those two backers from the Yaw2 era. I mean, we replaced the Yaw2 to Yaw3
Yep.
because we couldn't fix, or it didn't make sense to fix their Yaw2, and the rest were mostly backers who are ready to pay more. There were, I think it would be great to talk a little bit about that, because we got back some feedbacks that they got an email and they thought it's a scam, or they are I don't know in English, they are cheated or something. But honestly, we send out emails just to backers who sometime in the past noticed us that they are ready to pay more. So we just sent out the emails to them. So if anybody don't want to pay more, it's not an obligatory stuff. So it's nobody has to pay or have to pay more. Is just an option, and later on everybody will get their device without any extra payment. So it's not an obligatory stuff. So if anyone get an email that they have a option to pay more, they can just refuse it. I don't know if
It's up to
that
them
is
whether
a
they
good
do or
word.
not, basically. They don't have to.
Yeah,
So,
exactly,
yep.
exactly.
And I will come back to that a little bit, but what regions of the world have you shipped to so far? Do you know which continents or?
I think right now we don't make a difference between continents.
Okay.
So we sent to the US, to Europe at the beginning. So the first around 10 devices goes to Europe, because as we discussed around 2 months ago, we just planned to send out the first few devices to Europe. If we found some issues, then we could react more quickly and more effectively, let's say, in financial point of view and timing point of view as well. But after that, when we realized that the device is more reliable as before, we just started to send to other regions as well.
Okay. So I guess regarding the offer to pay more, can you explain a little bit what is that? Is that essentially you pay more, you get it quicker than other people? What's the easiest way to explain that to people if they think they might want to? It's essentially making them be treated the same as someone purchasing new, so it'll ship out as soon as possible, or is that
Yes, so if somebody accepts to pay more, then we will send the device out in around 10 days after the payment.
payment? Okay.
So the mechanism is that if they ready to pay more, then we count their original pledge, or we give them a voucher about their original pledge
Mm-hmm.
plus 10%. So they have a little advantage, but I understand it's not very big advantage, and they can just buy the simulator from the store.
Okay.
So that's the mechanism, but I want to notice again or note again that
It's
it's not
optional.
obligatory.
Yeah.
So it should be a solution, just people who has no problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Does that change anything regarding warranty or anything like that?
No, no,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
So it's like a regular purchase.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 1 year
Yeah.
warranty and even more because usually so there are lots of Yaw3 users who already passed the 1 year warranty, but we are
Still
still
looking after.
supporting them and
Yeah.
we don't want to leave anyone left.
Yeah. We've spoken in the past, and you've spoken about how the plan is the retail sales will help fund the Kickstarter deliveries. Do you have any updates on? So I think you said the expected ratio was 2 or 3 sales would result in 1 or 2. I may not have the numbers right, but that would result in. So if 2 people bought like at retail, then you would ship 1 Kickstarter unit. Has the ratio of that changed at all?
Basically, I think it's the ratio should be a little bit better. So it's depending on the quantity what we can produce.
Hmm.
But over 50 units per month, and our theoretical capacity is around without expanding our team, it's around 80-90 device per month.
Mm-hmm.
But over 50. I have to double check this calculation, but if I remember correctly, our last calculation was that over 50 devices, the half of the devices could go to Kickstarter
Okay.
backers,
Yeah.
and so that means for the break-even point of the company, we need to sell around 24 devices. So everything over that can finance the Kickstarter backer
Okay.
devices, but in let's say one-on-one, that means over 24. If we sell 1 device for someone, we can produce another 2 Kickstarter backers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was the original
Model.
calculation. I
Yeah.
have to double check with the new knowledge because now we know a little bit better how much it costs to produce, but it looks still promising.
Okay. Um, we've had a few people asking in the chat here and also via the other sources of questions of if there's any update on how you'll be addressing the differences in backer pledges. So if someone ordered a 2DOF, what will they get? Or what's the situation with regard to arcade
Yeah.
and the strength of motors? Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good question because the short answer, honestly, we didn't figure out yet anything about that. So here the fact is that right now we don't have 2D platform, just 3D,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have less powerful motors, just 350 watts on each each axis.
Yeah.
So even in case of Yaw2, there was 250 watts on roll, but right now we use 350 there. Maybe it doesn't make sense. We are investigating if there is any difference between 250 or 350. So maybe later we will use 250 watts motor on roll, but it's still the pro version in case of Yaw2.
Yep.
So right now this is the case. We are considering if it makes sense to produce platforms without rotation motor. Maybe maybe there will be still a difference because we will send out 2D versions, but there is no decision about that yet. So one, let's say.
Is there
Yeah, sorry, go
is
ahead.
there a complexity there in that because of the change in the way the design of the machine is, that if you send out a 2DOF unit, it won't be easy to upgrade it to a 3DOF?
No, it won't be possible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if we send out in 2D, then it will be very complicated to upgrade it
Mm.
to 3D. So that is one
Negative point.
question what we
Yeah.
have to consider. So there are pro and cons, if I'm not wrong in English, to send out 2D module, 2D devices or just 3D devices. Right now we are a little bit on the side that we send out just 3D devices, and we will figure out some other kind of differentiation to people who paid more. So in fact, people who pay more will get the same level of the device what they ordered. So there will be just the situation that who paid less will get the same. So I understand it feels a little bit like uncomfortable for some people. So we understand that. So we definitely will figure out something to make differentiate to do differentiation between the pledges.
Okay.
The arcade is a different question because there we still have to adapt the buttons, the extra buttons to Yaw3, but it doesn't look very complicated. So I think arcade will still have extra buttons and seat occupancy sensor.
Okay. So what sort of, for backers who haven't or choose not to pay any extra, do you know when the shipments to those users might expect to start going out? Is like from the backlog of users, if people offer to pay more, I'm guessing that you'll ship them out sooner. But as soon as you're past that 24 per month or whatever, are units going out to regular backers?
Yeah, it's depending on different stuffs. So first of all, we are scaling up our manufacturing capacity now. We just realized that we have to replace our ERP system. ERP means
Enterprise
the
resource
manufacturing,
planning.
something like that. And we had one in the past for Yaw2, but we just realized that because the team is smaller, we have to be more organized. And we just developed a new ERP system. It's a open source ERP system, and we just set it up. Basically, we will start to use it this week. So yesterday we just clean up the database, and now we fill up the right numbers of the parts, and I mean right quantities of the parts, and then from today or tomorrow. People will use it when they produce something. It will be tracked, and the warehouse, I don't know in English, but the number
Stock levels.
of parts in the warehouse
Yeah.
will be tracked perfectly, and we can just build up a very stable how can I say, supply chain? Yes,
Yeah.
a very stable supply chain. Because right now basically the most difficult part is the supply chain part, to ensure that every part will arrive on time. So that's why we started this ERP system. Maybe it's a little bit late, but finally we could manage to get one. So that will help us a lot to speed up the production, and that will help us to start to sending out devices to backers who are not willing to pay more. And even we had around 300 people who notice that they are ready to pay, but now we see it's the ratio who will really pay is not so good. So just a few people say that okay, they are still wants to pay. Some people are a little bit how can
Hesitant.
I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some people forget that they noticed us, they are willing to pay, so they are a little bit upset when we send them an email to pay more. We totally understand it, so it's please take it on the good way that we absolutely agree and accept that. So it's depending on how many people will finally pay extra from backers. So I cannot promise anything because it's very hard to predict. And there is other effect or other option that we are in discussion with an investor. And if we can get investment, then it will be much faster. Then we definitely will be able to start to deliver to regular backers still this year if we can get investment on time. Because of course, if you cannot get it on time, then it will be
Won't have time.
shifted. But
Yeah.
promising, yeah. Maybe we will talk about that later.
Yeah. And then I guess we've kind of already covered off on it a little bit, but I assume because of the complexity around 2DOF, 3DOF arcade, that you may not ship exactly in backer order, and at least until you've decided how you're going to deal with that. Is that right?
You mean the order of deliveries, or
Order
sorry, I
of
didn't get it.
deliveries for backers. Yeah. What's the plan for that, bearing
Yeah,
in mind?
the principal idea to try to go with the backer number.
Yep.
So that is the main goal. But not of course, but unfortunately, sometimes it cannot be kept or cannot be done. So in that case, we just make some exceptions. But the main goal is to send based on the backer numbers. Unfortunately, not every time possible, but we are trying to do that,
Yeah.
to follow that rule.
Yeah. I mean, this is based on what you said, probably not possible, but are you at this stage able to give any realistic timeline for completion of the Kickstarter fulfillments?
It's very depending on if you can get investment. We are working very hard on that. If we can get on investment, then the manufacturing most likely will goes to China, and there the production capacity is, let's say, almost unlimited. So of course not, but they can produce a few hundred units per month. And right now the potential investor, we are in discussion. He agrees that we have to put high attention backers, because that is the key of the future of our company. So we absolutely understand that if we cannot deliver to Kickstarter, then our company will be dead, because our brand will not survive that impact. And our potential investor knows that. He has some experiences on Kickstarter, and he knows very well how it works. And one of his goal is to deliver, run out our Kickstarter backlog as soon as possible. So that would be the, let's say, the ultimate solution, because in that case, in about 6-9 months, everybody could get their device. Maybe 6 months, because they are very fast.
Yeah. I'll come back to that a bit later, just because I've got some questions about financials. But one of the questions that came through was, for those who've already received a Yaw2, do you have any plans or any timeline to potentially offer a discounted upgrade path to a Yaw3?
Yeah, I think right after we established or stabilized our company, and Kickstarter backers can get the device, how can I say, constantly from month to month, then we definitely will be able to find some way to make possible to upgrade Yaw2 to Yaw3.
Yeah. Someone just asked, are you willing to say what the size of the Kickstarter backlog is? Like how many units?
800 units,
okay.
Unfortunately. So it's quite high.
Yeah.
But quite big.
Yeah. All right. So that's kind of the fulfillment stuff covered. I want to move on to, for those who have received a Yaw3. So I put out a video yesterday, which some people may have seen, but when you and I spoke a few weeks ago, it may have been via message or something, but you said that only one person had at that time had received a unit with any damage. And my personal experience, there's been a few issues, and like looking at the types of issues that have been, some of those are manufacturing related and some of them are shipping related, clearly. And I've seen a few people post issues in Discord through videos. I've just put these up on the stream for people to see, hopefully. So I'll just leave that up for a little bit. Can you give an update on how many issues you're having with regard to units received with damage?
Okay, I cannot tell you very exact numbers, because sometimes we don't know about some issues. So when we talked about that, we had to send replacement to just one backers at the time. Honestly, I don't know if since then there happened something, but I know that the Yaw3 is from delivery or shipping point of view much better than Yaw2 was.
Yep.
So in case of Yaw2, we had these shipping damage issues very frequently. Now it's much better, and we are improving. For example, in your case, we experienced that the 2D module is not because there is a small, let's say, door at the back, a small plate which
panel
covers the flat cable or the energy chain. It makes the back part of the 2D unit a little bit weak. So, for example, there we will make some improvements. So up until now, our experience is very good regarding the quality of the shipping. I don't know the exact numbers, how much damages we experienced, but it's significantly less than in case of Yaw2.
Well, I mean, I know there's another gentleman in Australia who received his without any issues, without any damage. I don't know. I guess I'm just unlucky or lucky.
Unfortunately,
I don't know.
unfortunately, it's a little bit a Russian roulette because it's not depending just on the quality of the packaging. We are improving that a lot, and because we don't have so basically in YawThree, the cover of the pitch, for example, is the
Structural.
same as uh, the the mechanical structure of the pitch. So it's the same. It's not a thin layer, but it's part of the structure. So that's why the device is much more robust. And even when we experience some damages, usually that was just some a small bending, which not affected of the usability. But in some cases, we experienced uh, uh, damages what we cannot really understand how happened. So, for example, days ago, or maybe yesterday or before yesterday, we got an image from one of our customer or backer where the one of the plate on the roll was completely bended. So it's almost impossible to understand what happened with that box.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's a Russian roulette, and sometimes DHL or FedEx, depending on the carrier, uh, just trying to completely destroy the box with all the tools they have. So really, sometimes they are pushing maybe the forklift to the box, or we cannot understand what's happening on.
Well,
Maybe one time we will.
even in my case, like, because I took photos of the boxes before I opened anything, and there was one place where it was clear that it was the box. The box had been hit, or stuff had moved and hit the box and punctured the box. But definitely, there's other things that were evident, and there's no corresponding damage to the box either. So. But anyway,
Yeah.
I guess the key is, like, what are you doing to address those? And it sounds like you're continuing to try and improve the packaging. And
Yeah, so every time when we get back some pictures about damages or issues, other kind of issues with the packaging, then we check it if we can improve it or not. And for example, the issue what you experienced, that the back part of the base is bended. It's a structural issue, so we have to address it in-house. Mostly all the other issues can be fixed by to change a little bit the packaging. And I also want to use in the package some supporting
foam or
uh,
something.
wooden
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know in English stuffs what you put in, and it will just support and keep the box in the same shape.
Yep. Okay. Saraboth
But
just.
sorry, one more comment. But if anyone get the device in a damage, how can I say? So with damages, then we immediately replace that part. So it was the same in your case, that we saw that that damage cannot be fixed. So we just sent you a new one.
Yep. All right. So Saraboth asked, does the new design make self repairs and parts replacement easier? I can answer that one. Yes. One of the parts that was bent on mine just unscrews off of the pitch, and it's the support rails for the rollers. They come off very easily, and you can put the new ones on. So it's infinitely simpler and easier to repair than the Yaw2 design. That would be fair, wouldn't it, Zsolt?
Yeah. I totally agree that maybe the only part which is still a little bit too complicated, and we are working on to make it much easier to maintain and fix and stuff. It's the rotation part, because it's a little bit hard to reach, but it's because it's nature. So it's not a big design failure or something. It's just
Physics.
we have to re-optimize it a little bit more. But everything as is much easier to fix, much easier to reach, much less parts, which can increase the reliability. So yeah, we are quite happy with the YawThree yet. It's not 100% perfect, of course. It never will be, because we continuously have to further develop. But it's very promising, at least until now.
I mean, just the internals of my early Yaw2 versus the Yaw3, it's like looking at a rubbish bin full of wires versus a very, very clean, like it's so much cleaner on the internals and much simpler. So
yeah, we are very sorry that we couldn't design this one from the beginning. And if you look back from now, let's say, it's very hard to understand why didn't we see exactly the issues, why we didn't find the best solutions. But unfortunately, maybe this is the way. Recently, I have seen the Raptor engines pictures, the number 1 and number 3, and it's
vastly different.
huge difference.
Yeah.
So maybe even a SpaceX has, with unlimited resources and unlimited money, has to go through the steps in the development. So unfortunately, couldn't avoid that phase to make a less optimized device.
Someone, I'm not sure if it was jokingly or not, said, "Will the Yaw3 turn into a Yaw4?" Let's hope not. I think the Yaw3 is a good foundation.
I don't see that it's necessary.
Yeah.
So we don't. In case of YawThree, when after we design, we already have seen some parts where we definitely should thinking about the further development, like the noise of the gears, the weight of the device, the connectivity issues and stuff like that. So we have seen that it has to be improved in the future. Right now in YawThree, we don't see that clearly that there is lots of room to improve. Of course, there are some. We are already working on those, but those are not significant, not touch the main parts and the main structure of the device. So I don't think there will come a YawFour. YawFour could be maybe later a productivity chair, which will be useful not just for gaming but for working as well. So that is a let's say middle term plan, but just in case if we get investment. And of course the G platform, the Gravity platform, maybe we will touch that topic later, will be a big improvement of YawThree, but it doesn't mean that it will be a YawFour.
Yeah. All right. So moving on topic a little bit. Can you give us an update on the current financial state of the company?
We are still stable. We just so there was a gap in terms in how can I say? So in case of revenues, or in terms of revenues, we had a gap during we developed YawThree, because we just stopped to sell Yaw 2.5. We started to sell or pre-sale of YawThree, which was a non-obligatory, non-payment pre-order. So we didn't have at that time revenues, or we have, but just from late Yaw2 orders and early YawThree orders. But it was low revenue status. But now these months we started to marketing again. It's not with a very high numbers, but I mean not with big amount of money, just with a small amount of money. But we started to over the marketing again.
Mm-hmm.
And this month was not bad from financially point of view, and we hope August and September will be much better. So we are still on the edge, let's say, but still on the safe side.
Mm-hmm.
And from now we are expecting some growth because Yaw3 is easier to. Sorry, I have just incoming call. So it's easier to produce and cheaper to produce, and faster to produce. So that means it should be appear as a growth, at least from financial point of view. And of course, every dollars will be spent on Kickstarter backers what we can earn. So it's not it's until Kickstarter backers will be fulfilled with their devices. It's not until that YawVR is not a for-profit company. It's a let's say non-profit company, but profit company for our backers.
Yeah. So we spoke about the your partner or the relationship you have where a potential investor, and in the past you've spoken about an Asian partner that was making your 2.5s for the Asian market. Do you expect that they will start making Yaw3s at some point in time?
Yeah, so we just met with them around 1 year ago or 9 years. Sorry, not
9
years,
months.
months, or 9 months ago. I don't remember correctly. And they were very interested to produce Yaw 2.5 and put it on the Asian market, mostly for arcades, so not for individual customers, but for arcades. And we have just managed to make with them a contract about the Asian market. Honestly, the Asian market is not our main, let's say, focus point, because mostly our customers came from the US and Europe, and that's why it wasn't a very hard decision to give them the right to produce the device and sell it on the Asian market. They are still building up the manufacturing capability. They already produced around 100 units, but they are still optimizing the production. I was traveling last week to them, and I helped a little bit in the manufacturing, and I was discussing about potential investment, because they are the company who potentially would invest into YawVR. And and regarding Yaw3, so we are trying to convince them to switch to Yaw3, because that would be very beneficial for us. Because in that case, if they are if they would start to producing Yaw3 for the Asian market, then we could just order from them Yaw3s for our regular sales to and for our Kickstarter backers. And that would be a great solution, because in that case we shouldn't dealing with the production here in Hungary, and it would be much easier to calculate the proportion between Kickstarter backers and regular customers, and so on. So that would be very beneficial for us. We already sent them a Yaw3 device. They got it recently, just maybe on Monday or something. So they will start to check the device out, because they biggest fear was to change to Yaw3, is that Yaw3 is not not
enough.
well tested yet,
Mm.
which is true.
Yep.
But I think YawThree is already a little bit better than Yaw 2.5, even the tested Yaw 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope I can convince them to switch. The specialty of this switch is that we want to get more license fee for YawThree
Mm-hmm.
as for Yaw2, because we could keep the Yaw2 license fee lower because we don't manufacturing that anymore.
Mm.
And we just wanted to respect their investment into the production facility and stuff like that, or support their investment on
Yep.
that. But in case of YawThree, they already have a manufacturing capability, and YawThree has lots of advantages in terms of production cost. So I think we should somehow get back some advantages from that. Because we spend a lot of money on the development of YawThree and lots of time, of course, I think it's
Worth it.
okay. It's a fair way to get back
Yeah.
more for that device.
Yep.
So the main goal is to convince them to start to produce YawThree, and in that case, we might will produce YawThree in China with them.
Okay. Is there any is that there's no fixed timeline for when you might find out about that, or whether that's going to go ahead, or?
No, I think our goal is to convince them to switch as soon as possible, because they could be so, because they already know very well Yaw 2.5. The manufacturing process is very similar. So I cannot say it's the same, but it's very similar, just more simple and fast. So I think to switch from and they already have the vendors and suppliers for Yaw 2.5, and basically 90% you can use the same suppliers for YawThree as well, because same electronics, just less parts, same mechanical structure, but less parts, and stuffs like that. So everything is almost the same, just less and more simple parts. So I think the switch would be easy and fast. So I hope if we can convince them they like YawThree, then in maybe for October it's possible that they will switch to YawThree. I cannot say anything because they are the manufacturer. They have their own management team about that, so I cannot. How can I say? Tell them anything about that, or I cannot.
But I mean,
Tell
theoretically,
them
it's financially advantageous for them to switch to the YawThree just because it's less parts.
I
And,
want to convince them about it very much, and they are open for that. So as I see, they are open for that.
Okay. So, because of, I mean, you've kind of spoken a little bit about this, but because of what's happened with Kickstarter and the Yaw2, I guess there's been a lot of negative perception of the company and the products and so on. So are you actively doing anything besides just trying to make a very good Yaw3 to combat that or to change the perception?
Of course. So yeah, we see that. So unfortunately, we see these comments, and of course, so it's for us, it's a very hard situation, because we would say that please, guys, don't do that, because it's just accelerate the potential, I don't know, bankruptcy or something. We are not in that phase, luckily, but it could be happen. But if we say that, then everybody will say that, okay, guys, but it's your responsibility. Why didn't you ship the device? It's your fault. Take the consequences and stuffs like that. So it's very, very, very hard to dispute with these arguments, because the main principle or the main right, the main truth is on our backer side, because we couldn't deliver yet. So we cannot dispute. It's a very hard situation. So the only way how we can change this perception is that to deliver as much YawThree as fast as possible. So this is our main goal now. But what is more important, to deliver very good devices. So that's why we may be a little bit slower as we expected, because if we experience some issue, we wanted to fix it as soon as possible, and every day we want to make YawThree much better and better. That's why we are working on the new game engine. That's why we're working on Infuse VR. That's why we improving even YawThree still. For example, from next week there will be the end position switches built in the new YawThree. That means from that point the calibration will be not necessary anymore. So you will just turn on the device, it will move a little bit, and the calibration will be done without any pushing any buttons and stuff like that. So so that is the way how we can somehow eliminate this effect from our past. But until we don't deliver, until we deliver all the
Backers.
devices,
Yeah.
it's a hard way. But after we delivered, I think it will be much easier to repair this situation.
Yeah. Is that limit switch thing something that can be retrofitted to those who've already got their Yaw3?
The electronics is ready for that. Yeah, maybe we can provide some kits to upgrade. Yeah, and we still investigating that.
Okay.
But it's a new feature. It's a new feature.
Yeah. All right. So I guess one of the things in my inspections of the Yaw3 was what I would consider to be some quality assurance related issues, like some stripped bolt heads and things like that. So what are you doing in the factory to stop that units that have those issues from being shipped out?
We already replaced some screws. Unfortunately we had these screw head issues. So sometimes the screw head just
Strips.
I don't know. Can you help me to explain that?
Strips. Okay.
The screw head.
It gets gouged out and you can't use it properly anymore. So
Yeah. And that's why we started to use
Torx.
the what is
Torx.
Torx?
Yeah.
Torx screws that which has a special head, and it can handle much more powers or forces. Sorry, and and we replaced already all the screws what usually people who are assembling the device at home just meeting, or I don't know, so touch.
Yep.
But honestly, we just didn't think that for the back cover, small back cover plate, it's necessary to replace the screw there as well, because there is no forces and stuff like that. But we just realized that because during the shipping the back part of the unit can a little bit bend, so that can cause that the screw is just fixed or trapped in its place, and it's very hard to screw out. And in that case, the head can be damaged. So we will definitely replace that screw for Torx as well, and we will make the back part more stronger as it is now.
So just to clarify, mine arrived with the heads already stripped. So I'd never put a screwdriver to them. So
Honestly, I don't know how it's
Yeah,
happened. How could it be happened? So we have to investigate that how it could be happened.
but it happened on both bases that I received. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I already told that
Mm.
to my team. So we will replace the screw as soon as possible. So it won't be an issue anymore. But until that, I'm sure that new device will not be shipped with
With
this
a
kind
stripped
of
head.
issue.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. One other aspect I think that would help a lot, and this is I received an email from someone during the week about their experience of receiving the unit, and one of the things he pointed out as being problematic is that it didn't come with any documentation about how to set it up, how to connect it to the computer, um, any diagrams of where key components were, which were something because one of his sensors wasn't working and he was asked for a photo of the sensor, but he had no idea where to take a photo of. So um, I think you could do a lot to improve the situation for new customers and Kickstarter backers by having good assembly documentation slash videos, a block diagram of where the parts are in the unit in case they have to take photos of anything, how to connect to the computer, how to set up and use Game Engine and Infuse, um, and those sorts of things. I'm going to say, let me know in the comments if you think that Yaw should sponsor me to do some of that. But um, I mean, I would have already made an assembly video if I didn't hit the issues that I did. So, but what's going on behind the scenes to address those issues internally?
There are lots of things are going on. So first of all, we are redesigning the controller application. It will have a new looks and new not functionality, because from functional point of view it will be the same, but maybe it will be a little bit more clear to use. And in the same time, there will be an assembly guide built in. So when you get your simulator, you should just scan a QR code. With that, you can download the application. And in the application, for the first start, there will be an assembly video, which is it will be a computer-generated video. I mean a CGI, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how can I say it. And it will explain step by step how to put together the device. So we are already working on that, but meanwhile, I totally understand that it's necessary a detailed video about how to build it together, and maybe a diagram as well. So this week we will just publish a short video about the assembly, so everybody will be able to assemble the device easily based on that video. And when the computer graphics is ready, then we will build it into the controller application. But maybe we still will provide some paper-based diagram or instruction how to build those together.
I
Luckily,
personally, I think a
yeah,
QR code in the box would be sufficient if it got them to where they need to
yeah,
be. That's yeah.
yeah, that's the main idea,
Mm.
because you definitely necessary to download the application to start the device and set up and stuff like that, and control later. So I think it makes sense to put their QR code and download. Yes, I agree. I agree. So that is one thing, that basically the assembly is, I don't know if you already assembled your device or not, but it's just a few screws. Okay, maybe if you put there the central holder and everything, maybe more, but to make the device basically working, you need just screw about 10 screws or
Mm.
something. So it's very, very simple. Of course, it can be more complicated when you put everything on it, all the accessories, but the basic assembly is much, much easier as before. At least it's my opinion. So the assembly guide could be more simple as before as well. So this is one point. The other point that we are started to upgrade our game engine as well, and the goal is that the game engine should be, let's say, super easy to use game engine. Right now we're working on that. The game engine would recognize the device on the network and automatically will connect to it. And the game plugin will recognize if the game is running and automatically will connect to it.
Yeah.
So if you set up the game telemetry output, in some cases you don't need to do anything. In some cases you should do something. Then this process will be completely automatic. So that means it will be much easier because you just run not maybe, but the game engine will be able to run in the background as well, because the YawVR will use game engine from remotely. So that means if you want to have, for example, motion compensation and you agree to use YawVR, then in that case you should just run YawVR, connect to the headset, and from that point the connection to the device will be automatically because the game engine in the background will do that. The connection to the game will be automatical because of the game engine, and the motion compensation will be semi-automatical in the headset. In YawVR, you should just push one button to calibrate. The device will calibrate myself in, I don't know, 5 seconds or 10 seconds. And from that point, motion compensation should be perfect, let's say. So these are the developments what we are doing now. And those will be ready, I think, still in August. I don't know the exact date, but it should be ready in August because most of the basic parts are already ready. So I'm very optimistic about that, but usually I'm too optimistic. So sorry if it will late, but we do our best to release it still in August.
So but Infuse will still be for Android-based VR headsets. Is that right?
Unfortunately, yes. So motion compensation for non-Infuse users, we should still working on it. So we never had a solution about that. So still today there are third-party solutions for that, like now the OpenXR motion compensation solution we heard about. We will investigate if we can build in some. Honestly, I don't know how it works. I didn't have time to investigate it yet, but I will do in this month, and we will investigate if we can build into the game engine and make it somehow automatically set up and stuff like that. So I honestly I don't have any idea if it's possible or not, because I don't know what kind of modules we should start to set up this stuff. So we will learn it, and after we will investigate how to build in. And there are still the OpenVR emulator stuff, which still works. So it also works, but it's also a third-party solution. So basically what we could add so far to motion compensation is that our simulator send out its motion, or not its position data to the network, and anyone can catch it and use it. But from now we will have a solution in YawVR, which is let's say end-to-end solution, because we provide the streaming service, and it's better from day to day than AR/VR development team is very good. They are developing AR/VR constantly, and it's really much better from, let's say, months to months. And we will upgrade AR/VR in the background as frequently as possible. We had, for example, in the last few weeks, a big upgrade on it, and now it works better. You can use it with USB as well. So the USB connection is also very stable. So I think it could be a good solution for YawVR users. But if they don't want to use it, there are still the two other options for as the OpenVR emulator and OpenXR. Hopefully OpenXR can be built in somehow, or can work together with game engines. So we will investigate that.
Yep. I'm also working on a video at the moment about getting the maximum bandwidth for virtual desktop, which should translate fairly well to ALVR as well. So
yeah, AR, I think, sorry, just one
it's the
comment.
basis, I believe. So
AR/VR, when it works well, AR/VR has very good quality. It's reliable, and so I think it can be a good. Sorry. It can be a good competitor of the virtual desktop. I'm sure.
Yep. Is there any other hardware add-ons that you're working on for the Yaw3 at the moment, or is it all kind of on hold until
Let's say we have ideas.
Okay.
So we have several ideas what would be great to build in. One is the built-in subwoofer or butt kicker or something.
Yep.
So we are considering to find a vendor or supplier who has a good low cost but good quality low cost subwoofer and built in, because that would also increase the user experience a lot. So my personal experience that let's say if the overall experience is 100, then I think YawVR has let's say 7%, 70%, and the butt kicker another 30%. So those it's my personal opinion. So when I turned off the subwoofer for example, in flight simulation, for me it missed. I missed it very much. So that's why we are considering to build in. These developments can be done when we can push the production cost more or less. So we don't want to increase, even not just we don't want to increase the price of the device, but we want to decrease it. But of course the extra features, if we want to build in as a regular accessory and not an addition, then we have to push down the production cost to include this one. But as an add-on, it's possible that will be done soon, and you can just get it as an add-on. For that, it would be great to somehow figure out to do wireless audio stuff. As we experienced, it's possible to go through audio with our wireless USB solution, virtual here. I just couldn't recall what I am. So it's possible, but we experienced that it can be glitchy on the bad way, because when there is some glitch, it's not makes the subwoofer silent, but it makes put it to the maximum. And it's a little bit disturbing. If it would be the opposite, so I mean, if the glitch is coming, then it's just 0. I think nobody would recognize it. because it's just very tiny stuff. But we will talk about that with the virtual here developer. Maybe he would be open to make some filtering or something. Or we will investigate if we can make some extra filters, because in that case the wireless audio would be, let's say, ready to go, and the audio signal is necessary for the subwoofer. So there could be a solution like this. So that is, for example, one possible improvement for Yaw3 in the future.
All right, so
But it's just an example.
yeah,
And there is the Gravity platform, of course. There were some questions about if Gravity platform will be compatible with Yaw2 as
and
well,
3, yeah.
and the answer is yes. Not the way as we originally expected, that you just put Yaw2 on the Gravity platform, and there will be the hole on the bottom of the rotation platform and the other platform, and they will connect it automatically, because it's not reliable enough, unfortunately. So the way will be that you put the device on the Gravity platform, and they will operating a little bit independently from each other, but in sync. So any kind of Yaw2 and Yaw3 device will be possible to use with our Gravity platforms. I think even with other simulators, it's possible.
Yep.
We are working on that.
But you used up all of your 100% on Butt Kicker and the Yaw, so is it going to be 150% with
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I'm very sure that if one time we can deliver or develop the Gravity platform, it will be the most ultimate simulator solution what is possible. So even I think even it will be able to compete with the big Boeing simulators because of the motion range. Not of course. Boeing simulators are 6D OF, but it's with a very limited motion range. So I think Yaw3 with the Gravity platform, even we want to make the Gravity platform as high motion with as high motion range as possible. I'm really sure that it will be unbelievable. So I'm very curious about that, and I'm very I cannot wait until we develop it.
Yeah. So there was a question about why we didn't really see any footage of the Yaw3 in action from the Flight Sim Expo in Vegas. So can you?
There. So yeah, at the beginning, so the first one. The first day was a little bit a lost for us because the previous day we just tested everything. So before there was a build up day before the show, and there was maybe 2 or 3 days of the show. And before the preparation day before the show, everything works perfectly, and we were very happy. And in the morning, when we started the day on the first day of the show, we just find out that the Wi-Fi is not working anymore. I mean, it worked, but not the
Not
way as
reliably.
we wanted. So even the streaming didn't work, and and we couldn't. We tried to upgrade some stuff, because at the beginning it looked like it's our fault, and not it is not a general network issue. But after a while, we just gave it up and switched to wired solution. And from that point, everything worked perfectly. So maybe the first day we just demoed with a roller coaster experience, but from the second day it was a real flight simulation, and many people has been tried. Honestly, we didn't have time, because there was another device what we wanted to built together for one of our partners there. It was a helicopter experience, but but unfortunately we just realized, so it was not a very lucky exhibition for us. So we had two headsets, one for the helicopter experience and another for the for our experience. We go with the Cessna experience. And because we had to go through with wire, so we had to use the USB wire to run the experience. We just realized that the USB wasn't strong enough to. But it was connected to the computer, but it still wasn't enough to charge the headset. So in every 2 hours we had to replace the headset. So that means we couldn't provide it to our partner. So it was a very bad situation, and we didn't have time. Maybe we make just one video or something about that stuff, and that's why we didn't update any video. But you can expect, so because we started the marketing over, or we restarted our marketing activity slowly, but we already make some advertisements, and our strongest marketing power always the videos, even if the videos are not very professional, because our language skills are not perfect, and our resources are not perfect yet. But we are planning to sorry, I had to just dismiss something. So we restart to creating videos. At the beginning, we will introduce Yaw3 again. We will show how to build it together. We will show what are the new features, what are the changes, and so on. And then we start the regular gameplay videos and other kind of videos frequently, from, let's say, every 2 weeks, at least every 2 weeks. The ideal situation would be to post something in every week, but you can expect videos in every 2 weeks. And after we start to delivery in higher numbers to our Kickstarter backers, we will provide some devices for influencers as well. And then we expect to have more and more videos on YouTube about Yaw3.
Yeah. So one of the things, I think Daniel has tried this out, but it came up in Discord about the issues with the Wi-Fi, and someone mentioned power line connectors. So they allow you to transmit the Ethernet over electricity. So hopefully you're checking those out for future, so it doesn't happen again. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're right.
I just wanted to say that we heard about that power network stuff, and it's a very interesting idea. So Daniel ordered one units from, I don't know,
Somewhere.
eBay or something, and we will try it out. And if it looks like it is working properly, then that will be also a future improvement as the built-in butt kicker that maybe can be built in, because that
More
would also
bandwidth.
a great step forward to have a wired connection again. But I would just call your attention on that. You still can connect network cable directly to
the Pi,
to the Raspberry Pi, but in that case you should limit the rotation. But lots of people are using Yaw2 and Yaw3 with limited rotation. So in that case, you have still the chance to use network cable.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go through the questions that have come through the chat while we've been talking. So some of these potentially have been answered already, so I'll try and skip those ones. But so there's a bunch of people who are asking when they'll receive their YawVR as Kickstarter backers. So Zsolt said very early on that Yaw's aim is to deliver all units to backers. They don't yet have a firm timeline for that. If they get funding, it could be within 6 to 9 months, but that funding's not secured yet. So,
so just 2 comments.
yeah.
One is that extra payment is not necessary and not obligatory. We, of course, we are very appreciative if someone can pay extra, but it's not obligatory. This is one thing. The other thing that the delivery is already ongoing again, which is a good news. It's not in big number, big quantity, but it's. I think it's a very good news that we started it. We could manage to start it over.
If someone hasn't already been contacted with the offer to pay extra but wants to, how?
Yes, please contact us. Please contact us.
Which contact details should they use? Sales at Yaw
I
or
think the sales at
YawVR.com?
YawVR.com is
Okay.
perfect.
Yep. Benjamin asked about whether or not you have like expected sales targets, I guess. Like, do you have the ability to forecast sales at this point, or it's just you're taking them as they come? You don't really have
Yeah, it's depending on it's depending on lots of stuffs. As I told you, our manufacturing capabilities are around 80 units per month right now. But if we extend the team, it can be go up to 120 easily in one shift. So 120 units per month would be the first target for us. I hope, but it's included with Kickstarter backer devices. So it's important. So half of that the sales, half of the Kickstarter devices. But if everything goes well and we can and people are satisfied with Yaw3 and we get positive feedbacks on YouTube and other places, I think it's possible to start to grow constantly. And in Hungary, we can do easily a double shift, which means the capacity would be around 200 units per month. And 3 shift, which is a little bit challenging. So I'm not sure if it's possible because the maintenance time and stuff like that. So I think somewhere 200, 250 is the realistic capacity what we have in Hungary now. But if we can move the production to China, then it will be much a much higher number.
Yep. So the stretch goals for the Kickstarter, will there be anything done about any of those?
Yeah, so first we want to deliver or be able to deliver, and then we will start to
Look at
to fulfill all the stretch goals what we promised them.
Yep.
So at the end, the main goal that at the end everybody should be satisfied with the result. Maybe not 100% perfectly in the same way as we promised at the beginning, but we wanted to keep our words and fulfill everything.
Well, I mean, to some degree, they're getting a better simulator than what they would have got if you had have delivered on time. So
that is definitely an upside that we surely can say that what they will get, it's a much better device. As was the first one.
Yep. Okay, there's a question that doesn't make any sense to me. So, you'd never said anything about video editing software? I don't think. No, I don't know what that is.
We have basically maybe he thought about that. I'm not sure. So there is we call it motion editor,
Okay.
which is
For
software where you can load a video, maybe a 360 video or 800, 180, and you can
build motion to the
edit the
timeline or something.
motion for that. Yeah, the timeline, the motion,
Yeah.
the vibration, and everything. And then we also have a solution. It's called, I don't know how it's called. It's maybe YawVR video or something, video player for standalone headsets. It works on Pico and Oculus Quest. And you can load the video there, and you can load the motion file there. And then it's just where you can connect the simulator and you can just play with that. But it's honestly, it's not a public solution yet. It's just an in-house solution. But if he asked about that, it exists. We developed it and we are considering to make it public if there is any demand for that. We made it for one of our partners to demonstrate them the capability of the device, but it can be easily make it public, but we didn't do that yet.
Yep. Okay. If someone backed the arcade level, but they wanted to buy a Yaw3 at full price now, would that be able to be upgraded to be an arcade unit, or they would have to wait?
Let me ask my colleagues, because most likely the arcade will be possible to update later, because you should just put one sensor and the buttons on it. So I have to consult with my colleagues if it's possible or not later. I have to double check.
Okay. Another one. What about people who are just wanting a refund? Is there a timeline for that?
As soon as we have some room, a little room, then we will start to refund our customers. Yeah, so it's planned. It's not forgotten, and as soon as we can, we will start it.
Benjamin asked about the business plan and amount of investment that you're looking for. Like, if anyone's interested in potentially investing, do you have a business plan investment document that they can get hold of?
Yes, we have. So regarding the investment, originally we were looking for $3 million US. Now we are talking about 1.5 million with our potential investor. I think it's not the amount is not a secret. So we are looking for between these two ranges. We are in let's say a very advanced phase with our potential current investor. So we are already working on the term sheet, but they have to accept some points before that. So we are in a not a bad status, but nothing finished yet or nothing accepted yet.
I think you might be having some network issues, Zsolt. It's gone very blocky and roboty.
Maybe now, is that better?
Not really. Are you there still? I'll just give it a little bit to see if he comes back.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
I can hear you a little bit. Maybe it might be better to just stop the video and there we go. It's cleared up now, so it looks a bit better.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Now I just go to my cell phone
Cellular
network.
Yep.
The internet. So that means maybe I will have some calls. So sorry for that. I just turned off my cell phone access, but maybe there is some issue with the local Wi-Fi. Okay, so we are happy to talk with potential investors. So please contact us, and then even directly me. My email address is sigetlaki.zsolt@YawVR.com. So it's very easy if they
Found your name.
find my name.
Yep.
Yeah, easy to figure out how can they contact me. But even on info@yawvr.com or sales@yawvr.com, you can contact me. And we are very happy to discuss about that. Maybe even as a co-investment, even as a independent investment.
Okay. You already spoke about the backlog, which was around 800 units. How many backers have had a unit delivered so far?
So we had around 1,100. So it should be around 350. I don't know, somewhere here. So around 300.
Someone asked about the current cost of the device and how China would reduce that in terms of percentage. So, do you?
So the cost of the device is depending on the quantity what we can produce in a month. For that, as I told you, we are starting to scale up the manufacturing with some technical developments or structural developments and let's say human resource developments as well. And if we can reach the, let's say, 80 units per month production capacity, then the production cost will be somewhere $2,000 or something. Now it's higher because we produce
still
just
ramping.
lower quantity, but yeah, that's the main data.
Someone said, this isn't really a question, but someone said they saw an unboxing video showing lots of elements that seemed to not be new. I don't know.
Sorry, what is the comment? I didn't get it.
Supposedly they saw a video that showed elements that didn't seem to be new. Paint damage, quality control questionable, but the only video I know of that has anything like that is mine, and all the parts were definitely new. It was just some stripped heads and some bent bits of metal.
Because we also have a assembly video, and we send it out to some people.
And that would be made using prototypes that have been.
It is that.
Okay, so just for clarity for new CDR, or was someone anonymous? Those assembly videos that you'll send out are made using units that have probably been put together and disassembled multiple times.
Exactly.
But it's representative. It's not actually showing you a new unit being assembled. So, someone said, "Oh, good, you're not dead. There's still hope for us." I'm glad you're not dead as well. So,
thank you.
Someone was asking about whether the seat is included with the Yaw. No, that's a separate product on the store, so you would have to order it at the time that you order your Yaw3.
Yeah, because it has a reason. Because by the way, we got a new seat from China, and it's much better quality as the current one. It's but we don't know the price yet. So basically, the current one is not bad. So it's a good, let's say, average quality seat, but that's the high-end seat. The new one could be a little bit better. We will see how the price is going with that. And yeah, so the main reason why it's not included that because the shipping cost of the seat is as much as the price of the seat. So maybe if someone prefer to use their own seat, it's absolutely possible. So maybe it's a more affordable solution to buy a seat locally. But if someone wants a seat with logo and LED lights, then I would suggest to order that.
Yeah. For anyone who's wondering about that, there's a video on my channel about retrofitting a car seat to the Yaw2, and the seat plate is extremely similar on the Yaw3. So I think that would give you a good idea about what might be involved in getting your own seat and putting it on the Yaw3. And it definitely did work out cheaper for me to buy that seat that's sitting just there off Facebook Marketplace than the shipping cost of getting a Yaw seat to Australia. So, yeah, definitely true. Saraboth mentioned potentially worth talking to the SimHub developer about motion software and game integration. Apparently, they recently launched their own motion software integration, and it's apparently fantastic. So, someone who must have joined late asked about Kickstarter deliveries. I think we've covered that well enough. So, if you didn't see it already, just watch the video once it's the live stream. Watch it later on. So someone else asking about the video motion software. We've spoken about that. So Benjamin, the person who asked about the business plan, etc., works in mergers and acquisitions and fundraising. So,
nice.
Yeah. So Benjamin, get in contact with Yaw. It's his last name dot his first name at YawVR.com. Do backers that pay full price have to pay for the rewards like the side rails and the seat belts? I would assume if they pledged for those things, they would get them anyway.
Oh, please, please again.
So if a backer decides to pay extra,
yes,
do they should get the side rail and the seat belts without paying for them separately, because they would have already got them as part of their pledge, wouldn't they?
Yeah. In that case, of course.
Yes.
In that case, of course.
Yep. All right. That's all the questions. So
can I ask you if we go through all the questions from the Facebook group, the Yaw3?
So I went through them today with Saraboth, and they were merged in amongst my questions largely, and I also gave him answers to some of them that you and I have discussed at other times. So he'll feed those back to the community. One of the other main ones, which has come from multiple places over time, is a frustration about how often Kickstarter campaign updates are going out. So can you commit to do an update at least monthly? I don't think you need to do it every 2 weeks, but once a month.
I'm absolutely in that. So it was my fault that now you should wait 2 months for the update, because I was a little bit more optimistic that we can close the investment stuff with the Chinese partner, and in that case, it would be a very nice update that guys. We are in a.
You can always do an update in less than a month if you have something really good to say.
I agree. So yes, I can promise that every month there will be an update from now. Even we can do an interview in every month if you wish. So I'm very happy to do that, and sorry for this long silence.
That's okay. All right. I think we're done, unless you've got something else you'd like to say.
Thank you very much for everybody for the patience. We feel and we understand that patience is not unlimited. So we are trying to do our best to deliver you as soon as possible. And if this investment will be done, then I can promise that everything will be much faster than now. And please, finger crossed.
All of us,
to
fingers
us.
crossed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you very much. Thank you very much for your efforts.
Thanks, Zsolt. Thanks for coming on the channel.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. I've ended the stream, so we're